We are approaching 10 million revenue per year.
Today we have Darius, CEO of Pervesk, who is a fintech company from Lithuania.
Mistakes happen daily, probably even hourly.
And we will be talking about how they scale the business, what was the story for Darius to actually become a CEO, how he helped the company go from 2 employees to hundreds of employees. And we will be talking about growth strategies. And also we were talking about what are the opportunities right now in the fintech space if somebody wants to have a new company right now in 2025 or 2026.
People that are not working up to your expectations, they hurt company. Sooner is better than rather later.
So listen carefully and let's go. Let's start the episode right now. Good day, Darius. How are you doing today?
Good day. Good day. Fine. Thank you.
You're in Vilnius, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So we have an online conversation from Vilnius to Riga. Okay. So what does your business do?
So we are an electronic money institution. Basically, to put it in layman terms, it's a bank without actual fractional banking. So we are not lending out funds. And funds that are entrusted with us from our customers are not considered deposits. But other than that, from user experience perspective, we offer payment accounts, and you can do everything that you can do with a regular banking account with that.
How big is the business? How much revenue per year right now?
So, revenue is very interesting topic when it comes to financial service providers, because, on one part we have customers that turn over a lot of funds, for themselves, but this is not our revenue. This is not our income. So these numbers are enormous for any financial institution, even a tiny one. At least the one that has at least some customers. For us, we are approaching 10 million revenue per year.
And how many employees you have?
A little bit more than 100. So it's now hovering around 110 or so. But it is important to understand that in our case, we are part of an ecosystem of companies. So we ourselves at Pervesk, we are an electronic money institution, but we are an integral part of what we call Bankera. And we actually do our business mostly under that brand name. So under that brand name, we also have software development company. So obviously all of our technological solutions, they come from that company, which is called Banking Lab. In our group, we also have a cryptocurrency exchange, SpectraCoin, which also is not that small. So they employ fewer people than we do at this electronic money institution, but still like a handful, like 30 something people working there. And then there are some auxiliary companies that help us with what we call centralized services, such as HR function, design work, and so on and so on. So in total, in our group of companies, there's 250 people, and of course, this number fluctuates day to day because someone goes on maternity leave, hires someone new, and so on and so on.
But the company Pervesk is like the overarching big business, or what is that company?
Well, initially, when our co-owners started these businesses, Pervesk was supposed to be only a company that provides services to SpectraCoin, our cryptocurrency exchange.
Yeah.
But over time, it kind of became as you put it, an overarching business, and maybe the main point of how people come to learn about us.
Okay. But what was your kind of story of, as I understand, you were the third person joining this business, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I was the third person joining this business, and out of those 3 people that were the first ones to enter this business, only two of us are left. So I'm the second oldest employee.
Okay. And what was your story to get into this company? How did that happen?
So yeah, that's quite an interesting one. So at the time, I was working at the central bank, and I had this background of like I have a PhD in economics, but at the same time I've mastered in legal laws. So I kind of had the education suitable for this field, but at the time I was working at central bank, and actually my responsibilities did not cover anything related to financial markets or supervision. I was working at financial stability department, meaning that we were taking care of macro issues in the economy, such as like monitoring the real estate market, its relationship with the financial market, with lending, and so on and so on. So it was something that was very closely related to my PhD thesis. Was very interesting. But after 5 years with the central bank, I felt like I've probably exhausted, at least these lower hanging fruit that I could take for myself as a valuable experience. And of course, working at the central bank is if you take any public sector job, I would consider it's one of the best, that you can do in public sector at the central bank, because it is independent. In modern Western society, central banks are independent, so that this removes some of the bureaucracy associated with public sector. But still, it retains a lot of that as well, since it's still a public sector job. So it was very good for a young professional, to kickstart career and learn a lot. But after a while, you have to ask yourself, do you want to have the stability and very well-defined work environment, or you want a little bit more of chaos, but also the opportunities that chaos brings? So I chose that one. I guess I applied for a lawyer's, not for a lawyer's, but for a project manager's job. And it was at the time, I think, at Spectra Coin, so at the cryptocurrency exchange. But they came back to me offering lawyer's job. They said, okay, we see your background, and yeah, you applied for project manager, but we see you as a better fit as a legal counsel. And I was actually the first lawyer to join the company. But my career as a lawyer was very short-lived. Maybe after 3 months, I was offered to head Pervesk. And I oversaw the company grow from 3 people to what we are today, more than 100 people.
How does that happen? It sounds super surreal. Like they didn't like why that happened. Like it's so interesting. What was like they kind of were looking for a person, and they saw you as like this 3-month-old lawyer who's like the shark, like doing something, I don't know, insane, and they're like, this is the guy. Or why how that happened?
Well, I mean, all these upstart companies, they usually start very small. And you can view them as a small family where everyone knows each other. So you work in very close relationship always with the co-founders. And even to this day, I mean, we discuss a lot of things with the co-founders. They actually provide a lot of guidance, and this is very valuable, for you as a chief executive officer who has to implement that strategy. So it's always a valuable thing to have this access to their minds, and to double check on things that you want to implement. But at the time, it was a very small company, so everyone worked very closely on all projects, and like the division of functions was basically non-existent. If you have 3 employees and you have to do something, I mean, it's not going to be it's no one is going to say it's not my job, it's someone else's function. There's just a pool of things that you have to do, and everyone just does everything they can to contribute. It's a magical phase of any company. Sometimes I still feel nostalgic about that. But this is long gone. I guess you cannot work with the same principles with a staff of more than 100 people. Yeah, but this is also this also helps you to get noticed. So for this close relationship with the co-founders and everything, they get the chance to experience themselves, and decide themselves who has what capabilities. Of course, my experience with the central bank probably helped a little bit. It was probably viewed as an asset, because Bank of Lithuania is the supervisory authority here in Lithuania as well. So we do not have here in Lithuania separate supervision service, that supervises financial institutions.
Yeah.
And even though my functions were in not related in any way with supervision, still I had the knowledge of the infrastructure and the organizational structure of Bank of Lithuania and how that institution operates, which still helps to get, for example, in touch with them quicker. And as a financial company, you still have to contact them quite a lot. You have to share data. You have to consult on various things. You even have to give notice once you launch new products and so on and so on. So of course, this knowledge, especially in early days of any company, is very useful. Just because someone without that experience might even lack confidence just to contact or use just the general contact channels, such as like general info email box or something, which slows things down.
I was actually yesterday when I was preparing, I thought interesting topic. This is maybe a little bit side topic. Is that not long ago the economics of, let's say, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia were much closer to each other, but right now it seems like the economics of Lithuania has been more growing than Latvia or Estonia. Why is that, and what you have seen maybe Lithuania is doing differently in the Baltics compared to other countries?
I think this is a question which is very hard to tackle from insider's perspective, because we've dwelled in this environment, in what we call Lithuania every day. So for us, whatever is happening here is just something that we take for granted. It's just there. So with this in mind, it's really hard to get an answer to yourself what's different about it, especially when you try to compare it to other countries. Because from your question, I understand that there's probably an emerging narrative that Lithuania's economy is somehow benefiting from, I don't know, successful, let's say, political decisions. It could be, right? But yet again, I can assure you that, every day, just like in any other country, there's always, scandals in the politics and
Right.
Protests here and there, people debating what works and what not, what's beneficial to the economy in the long term, what's just a short-term populist decision. Every day just does not feel any different from, what I've experienced with other people discussing their experiences with their countries. So, I mean, I would really be just guessing if I was trying to single out some policy decisions. Of course, the field that I am probably most best fitted to comment on is fintech and financial industry as a whole. So indeed, openness to fintech companies in the years of 2017 to 2021 probably contributed a lot that we've that to what we have today, at least in this field. Of course, it attracted a lot of companies, most of them foreign, to Lithuania, and we have to admit we did not have this skill set and talent pool fitted very well to work with these companies. I even when I shared my experience, how I became the head of Pervesk. I had no prior experience with this market. So for me, working at Pervesk was also involved learning about how payments work, how settlements work, and so on and so on. These were not part of usual curriculum that we are taught in universities, for example, when we learn economics here in Lithuania and so on and so on. So over time, it forced, even our labor market to adapt to the needs of these companies. And now I am probably confident in saying that, we have the talent pool now, which would be able to sustain themselves in this market. For example, if we imagine a theoretical station where all the foreign capital withdraws, in that case, I guess, the pool that we have here would still be able to sustain business in this area. Of course, if you're talking about financing, and financing needs for financial companies, that's a probably different topic, but in terms of skill set, it somehow got there. So it was not present, like, let's say, 7 years ago.
I think an interesting topic would be for you, as you were the CEO from basically 3 people, then 2 people to 100 people, what would be your advice to other CEOs who want to scale, grow their enterprises with more staff, more kind of people? What would be kind of the necessary foundations to actually do it? Like what you have seen based on your own personal experience?
So when it comes to this question, there's, I have some mixed feelings about this and how I want to answer it, because on one side, I'm a CEO, so I still have this goal of, driving growing revenue and, basically showing profit to our shareholders. And staff is cost. It costs us, and the larger the staff, the more expensive our operations are. In financial services, a lot of demand for staff comes from regulatory requirements. There's a lot of things that we have to comply with. A lot of regulatory reporting, a lot of risk control measures that have to be implemented. And I can assure you, if the financial service industry is left unregulated, immediately, like staff count would be cut in, I don't know, by 80% or so in all
really?
institutions.
Okay, so the more.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like, let's say at Pervesk, 70% of our staff is working in anti-money laundering. So
couldn't it be possible for you to right now use like some AI agents that are trained based on data and kind of do that job? I think maybe that's something you also are thinking in the future to kind of do.
Yeah. So we're actually doing that, and when it comes to these, I don't want to single out AI agents or AI in general, but let's say all the modern tools available for us, all of them combined, they actually are very good at increasing efficiency, if we measure it per employee. So what a single employee can achieve given over, same period of time, let's say per hour, how many cases they can review, how many reports they can prepare, and so on. It increases efficiently enormously, but it does not. If you are talking about a growing business, it does not decrease the staff demand at all, because it gets offset by the growth, because the growth brings in more need for coming up with reports, more transaction monitoring, more suspicious transaction reports, and so on and so on. So it slows down hiring, but there's at least not for companies in our maturity bracket, where it brings like potential, let's say, for staff numbers to shrink.
In your experience, what was the kind of, you were hiring everybody till what point? And I think, but what I'm trying to ask is, when you do hire new people, and I can imagine you were the guy hiring those people, it's always important also to kind of A, train them, B, put in the systems in place so they can do their job. Or what was your approach in this kind of sense to actually, this hiring process? How do you look at it? How you look at it?
So there's actually a very significant difference in how this process looked when we were much smaller and now. These days, our hiring process resembles a regular corporate hiring process. We have an HR working on this, and people with the need to fill in positions. We just go over requirements, what we need from what the skill set is requiring, and we hold job interviews. Sometimes candidates have to go about and do exercises for us, to check if they are actually able to perform, and so on and so on. In our early days, it was much more casual, so to say.
Okay.
And when you are not as well established, especially in financial industry, of course, candidates, they have this understanding that, you might go out of business. You might not turn out to be, one of those 10 startups that do not fail. So, they either have to be brave or be in this category of labor pool where they do not care about stability, which means usually that's very young people with little experience who are not necessarily looking to start an entry job in let's say Big Four company or something, but already want to go to the front lines of these things. So hiring itself was also very interesting in these early days, because the pool that was available to you was very interesting.
You were hiring everybody yourself until what point? When was that? How was that working? How was that done?
Well, if the question is about me hiring people personally, as a person, like as a CEO hiring, so maybe up until the point when we grew to some 20-something team. And even at that 20-something mark, we started probably holding these interviews already with team leads or heads of divisions that we're starting to form inside the company, and with the help of HR staff. So after that point, it became increasingly pointless for me to be in those interviews.
When you started the kind of the bank fintech company, like were you focused also on having a specific differentiation from the other competitors? Because I know in one of your interviews you mentioned that okay, against retail players like Revolut there's no need to compete, but you should be focused on niches. Like what was your thinking initially when you started this company?
So Pervesk was actually started as an auxiliary company that should provide with payment services to SpectraCoin, because
Mm.
cryptocurrency exchanges had a hard, and still the problem is still there, had a hard time to find reliable payment service providers. Uh, because those that were open to provide services to cryptocurrency exchanges were either losing licenses because
Yep.
they couldn't cope with the risk that they were taking on, or they were unreliable because they also couldn't scale properly. They were not taking care of their growth properly, and it always, like their systems were shutting down. It was not a good customer experience. So SpectraCoin actually even lost some money because of uh, partners in the PSP space that went out of business. So initial idea was to just set up a company, a payments institution, a payment service provider that would cater for the needs of SpectraCoin, and that was it. But after it was there and started operating, uh, you know you have to ask yourself at that point: do you want to stay there and just leave things as they are, or are you open to also solving this problem to others? Because SpectraCoin is not the only one with the same problem. We were of the mindset that, if we solve this problem for ourselves, why shouldn't we offer similar solutions to others? So
Mm.
up till this day, it's probably even though we don't have like an official slogan or something, but it's probably our main line of thinking when we try to sell our services to others, is that we are not just trying to convince you to use us just because we
Mm.
are offering a solution that worked for us ourselves.
Oh, okay, got it. Makes sense. Kind of scratching your own niche in need, and then kind of building a product and solution around that. What has been kind of the most painful or the biggest mistakes from growing the business, and what you have learned from those mistakes?
That's a tough one, actually, because if you go over my daily routine, mistakes happen daily, probably even hourly, because there's lots of decisions every day and every hour, and of course, sometimes there's no one there to tell you what's going to turn out right or work, and you just have to basically choose something just to make sure that the company does not go in this inactivity just because you stall on some decision. So, but probably I would say biggest my when it comes to my personal mistakes, I would probably turn to some of the hiring decisions
Mm.
where candidates in their interviews turned out showed up very well, but they did not perform. And on a few occasions, it took me more time than with the benefit of hindsight that was necessary to let's say change them to someone more competent. So these these periods when you have people that are not working up to your expectations, they hurt company, and of course they hurt others around them, because others, they expect if they are performing well, it can have bad effect on their morale when they see that others, that they are not up to the task, are clinging to that position, which in some cases can be even like, I don't know, it might be their higher ups, supervisors and so on.
In that situation, what do you do? Like, I also can relate to those situations, what you just told me. Do you try to find a replacement and then basically cut the person off, or you basically cut them off and then kind of deal with the consequences of not having a role in that place where they were cut off from? What would be your thinking and advice to yourself back then?
It's still not going to be a very black and white advice, and clear cut, because it really depends on the position. So for example, if it's a position that has to be filled due to regulatory requirements, like a money laundering reporting officer, you cannot have vacancy there. So even like, someone who's not performing as well is probably still going to be required there up until you find a replacement. Or you can have someone, from, let's say, less senior staff to be acting in that position for a while.
Yeah.
But still, someone has to be there to fill in those shoes. In other positions, like, I don't know, if it's sales or something not as compliance critical, you probably can cut off it immediately. And in most cases, I would suggest myself, with the benefit of hindsight, that, sooner is better than rather later.
There's like, this movie, there was a movie where there's a specific person you hire that just comes and lays off people, because some CEOs and me as well, it's very, very hard to kind of let people go. But,
it's definitely one of the less pleasant parts
things to do, right?
of our work.
Right. I wanted to touch a little bit on culture. So I just had a guest who has like a surgery clinic, and he told me that they did at the company a very interesting thing where everybody jumps in with like 10 euros, and the bet is we're going to track our steps, and every day we need to do 10,000 steps, and we'll track our kilograms. So who loses the most amount of kilograms is going to win the prize, basically win all of the prize money for men and for female. And I thought that was actually a pretty interesting thing for culture to kind of get everybody more fit, because as you are more fit, you're more productive, I would imagine. So maybe are there some things you have done in your company similar or maybe different, but what you could share?
Well, I mean, when we were much smaller, of course, we were less formal about these things, because when everybody knows each other that well and work basically in the same office room, when you can fit the whole company in one office space, it's a different kind of story. What kind of bets and informal activities you can do. If we were to do something like that, right now, I guess it would end up in complaints to HR about, like body shaming and whatnot. So, yeah, of course, yeah, but I do know that, inside teams, inside divisions, departments, when they have these subcultures, when where they are working closer together, they have these activities, and we do encourage team building activities even among smaller teams, not these company-wide events where the big corporate brother takes creates an environment, a space for everyone to like have a Christmas party or something. So not only those. Yeah, but when it comes to these things, with the size and with the expectations from this generation, you have to be a little bit careful about these things, because, like, for example, if we stick to the example of losing weight as a reward, I'm a cyclist. On my part time, I do road cycling. So road cyclists are probably in the category of people that track their weight the most. only probably the supermodels are just the ones that attract it more. But I don't really have that much body fat left for
No,
me.
you would definitely not win it. That's for sure. But I think
Yeah.
some people could be useful for that. But yeah, got it.
Yeah. So
In your business, how do you go about picking other markets to expand from? Because you're in Lithuania, and currently, what kind of markets are you actually based in, where you can do business with these people? And how do you think about expanding to other markets?
so geography-wise, our market is European Economic Area, and
Yeah.
in terms of being in Lithuania or Latvia, it doesn't matter because we are part of European Economic Area, or
Okay.
European Union in particular.
Yeah.
This is actually the biggest asset that we have as small open economies. So our licenses, local licenses, electronic money institution license issued here in Lithuania by the Bank of Lithuania, or
Okay.
if you take the corresponding license issued in Latvia, they can be passported to whole European Economic Area.
Okay.
Because for any financial institution in Latvia or in Lithuania, our local economies, our local markets are just too small.
Mm,
It is actually not commercially feasible to just start a business in these small economies
right.
for financial service provider and just hope to make it profitable based on home market. It's impossible. So for us, Lithuania is our home. This is where most of our staff is based and so on, but it's not our home market. Whenever we get asked, what's our home market, we say Europe. So, for example, primarily we always target Europeans, so European corporations, European consumers. This is what we target first.
Mm.
Uh, yeah.
When you say target, how do you kind of what's your strategy to acquiring customers? What are the main sources of you getting a new business inside of the door?
So the main source is industry events and exhibitions. Actually, this is what from the very first days till even today. This is what works best because where a certain industry meets in one place.
Mm.
So anywhere, it can be in Europe, it can be outside Europe. Still, you are going to focus on your peers from your continent. Then, and you're not going to waste time, discussing with someone looking for payment service provider in Asia,
Mm.
because you don't have a license there, you don't have you are not authorized to provide services there. So you're not going to, go about and advertise your services for Asian customers. But, in these industry events, you meet with people. Of course, you go to lunches with them, you visit their offices. We actually prefer this door-to-door approach, face-to-face approach, despite us being digital first and basically digital only business. You cannot, find customer support location, where you can just go in and like a brick and mortar store and ask for help. We do everything online. We onboard customers online. We maintain our communication online. So even with this business line, we prefer onboarding, not onboarding, but learning about our customers face to face in this door to door approach.
Darius,
We do,
how many customers are there currently? Because I was just I think it's fascinating that you are like not running these kind of direct response, or are you running maybe direct response marketing campaigns like paid ads?
no, not.
No, really.
So
Wow.
we do run some ads. We have done that in the past as well,
Mm-hmm.
not only currently, but to a very limited extent.
Mm. Wow.
So it's not something that we think a lot about because it's just can get your name out there if the opportunity is right. For example, if there's some event happening, like some licensing changes or something, that everyone is going to Google. It makes sense, then to ride that wave of popular keywords, just to make your brand visible in those spaces. But for us, because if financial industry is about trust, so people have to trust you with your money. They have to trust that you're not going to go and run away with what they entrusted you. Making yourself visible in these industry events, visiting them in their countries, in their offices, probably builds that trust the fastest. Just because, they get to know you in person, they get your business card, they get your contacts, WhatsApp, Telegram, whatever is preferable, and they get this direct connection to you. So this is, the ultimate cornerstone for building trust, because they get to know the C-level executives at the company. They have, if something is not right, they can contact you and just consult on these things at a very senior level. Now, for the question, how large is our customer base? So in total, it's around 20,000 customers.
Oh, that's a lot of customers.
But most of them are, like consumers. So for most of our history, we offer the services for consumers free of charge, which helped us to reach these numbers organically, basically. But where we make money is our corporate customers. So we are approaching 1,000 customers in this segment.
Because that's what I was thinking, right? You're saying this kind of more gloves on approach is for retail. It probably doesn't never work because it's like you need like masses of people, masses of customers.
Yeah.
So so I guess when you're focusing on B2B, more bigger corporations, then it makes kind of more sense.
Yeah. So of course, obviously, we are not going to visit consumers.
Because you were saying every customer we try to just meet in a conference, it's like, okay.
Oh, but like when you meet customers with this approach in conferences and in exhibitions,
okay.
After a while, you build a network of customers that are able to recommend you to their colleagues, business owners, and you don't actually know if they came to you because of a recommendation. But after a while, from time to time, we get these anecdotal evidence that someone was recommended by a customer that is already there. But from our perspective, it is perceived as organic growth because there's no tracking number associated with that application or anything. They just come, click on sign up on our website and start onboarding procedure.
What would be some of the innovation you see right now in the fintech space where, let's say, you and I, Darius, we need to start a new company, when we need to start a new fintech company, what kind of products will we offer and why? Where do you see opportunities?
If I disclose this, I'm getting in trouble.
But what comes to mind as innovative products, maybe?
No, so I think, you have to understand that when it comes to payments, and I'm talking about payment products, so, it's probably even a bit more correct to say payment services, not products, so when it comes to these services, first thing that you have to ask yourself, what people or users of those services expect. These days, they expect speed. That's one thing. So the faster you can get funds from A to B, the better. With current market infrastructure that we have, I think, the capacity for improvement is not really huge because like SEPA instant payments, they are, it's in the name, instant. Cross-border payments are also getting there quite fast. We can discuss probably for an eternity if it's due to the competition from cryptocurrencies or not, but it doesn't matter. The traditional conventional infrastructure is getting there. For average consumer, for an average corporation, they don't care about, if it's based on blockchain or not. What matters for them if it gets from where it gets to where it has to get, quickly. So whatever you can do to increase the speed is huge advantage. But as I said, capacity to improve in this area is not really huge. Another area is compliance. It is closely related to speed, but we have to understand that when we as consumers, when we perceive something as getting, not as quickly or happening slower, it usually means that things are stuck with compliance. They are getting reviewed, and these are usually done manually, because like automated systems flagged something and it has to be reviewed. Maybe your name is only one character away from being an exact match to someone on sanction lists.
Yeah.
For example, here in Lithuania, we have one person serving life sentence currently who has the same name and surname as me.
Really?
And yeah, and he's serving it for killings, bombing cars. So I mean, I do pop up in databases.
Because of that incident. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
because of
I mean, not me, but like someone with the same name and surname. So of course it can trigger systems, that do these background checks for anything related to me to pop up for manual review. And of course, human, can dismiss that as a false positive, but still, these things, put sands in the wheels, so to say. Yeah. So whatever you can do when it comes to compliance to make it faster and smoother, especially from customer experience perspective, is also an area that you can do. But I mean, this is what we've been seeing. A lot of AML service providers, KYC service providers popping up, integrating AI agents, AI everything into their product.
AI everything. Exactly. AI everything inside of it. And then it's just like a mix and patch. Like, Darius, maybe tell me, what do you think about it? So where I see an opportunity where there's no clear solution is for people that make a foreign company. Let's say I'm from Lithuania and I make a company in Dubai, or I make a company in US, or I make a company in whatever country, banking for them. I see a huge not solution for that kind of market segment, because I had some experience with it personally, and there was an issue to having a clear bank account with a card. It's not so simple to do. This is a market.
Yeah. So I can immediately relate, because we do target these customers. Well, not target, but we are available for them, because obviously we cannot do like direct marketing to companies established in the US, because we are not licensed to work there. But there are a lot of companies in the US that are looking for payment service providers in Europe, just because they do a lot of business in Europe. So, for example, they might be selling products to Europeans, and they need to receive payments from Europe. So, of course, if such customers have a good enough and reasonable connection to Europe, which makes economic sense, we are able to open accounts for them. The thing is that we are not able to market our services to them, and it has to work on reverse solicitation basis. But you've actually touched on, topic that is very interesting. I would say that because your initial question was what you should someone offer in finance to create an open a company to start business. So whenever you can find a segment which is underbanked and is willing to pay for those services, this is a key component because there's a lot of consumers that are underbanked due to various reasons. There are countries, regions in the world that are less developed, so of course they are not going to be as banked as consumers in Western societies, but they also don't have a lot of money to pay for those services, and the general competitive environment in finance means that consumers are usually expecting these services for free. So, but if you can find a segment, that you understand, which is underbanked and which has financial capacity to pay for those services, you probably have a shot to grab onto something. And of course, from there on, you can expand to other areas. And it's actually very similar to what we did. We started off with a solution for crypto exchanges, crypto service providers, and then we expanded to other underbanked areas. So such as your examples, where someone set up a company outside of Europe. It can be due to a lot of reasons. Probably the most common is, favorable tax environment or whatnot. But still, it does not mean that, this automatically has to disqualify businesses from, getting bank
Doing
accounts.
that, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's do the ending part, quicker questions. Darius, are you married with kids? No kids?
I'm divorced, but I have a very nice son.
Amazing. Still good about the son. Sorry for the divorce. But next thing, favorite dessert?
Ice cream.
Or which
I
type of
mean,
ice cream?
gelato.
Gelato. Yeah, those are Italians. Those are good ones. I think there's a big
Yeah. So if you close me in a room with an unlimited supply of that thing, you can immediately start working on how are they called these notices in newspapers after a person dies.
And then you'll have more extra weight to get off you from cycling.
Yeah.
If you couldn't live in Lithuania, where would you live?
Oh, I probably wouldn't go far away from Europe. I really like Europe as a continent, uh, and I do really enjoy warmer climates. So I would say it's either southern parts of Italy or Malta. These areas somehow fascinate me.
I've never been to Malta, but south of Italy, have been there. Italy is nice. Italy is nice. Rome is nice. Best kind of what do you follow? Where do you consume information about entrepreneurship, business? Who do you follow? Who do you listen to?
I can joke about this. I listen only to myself.
Okay. Okay.
No, but like in all seriousness, I try to isolate myself from news sources that focus on general news, like politics, criminal events, and these things. So I usually get filled in on these by colleagues at the office or by my girlfriend at home. But because I don't consider that information too valuable and it just, takes up space for, anything that's happening in the field of finance, I am still a little bit old school here. I still use RSS.
Wow, that's very old school.
Yeah, I still use and I'm subscribed to Financial Times there, and the like equivalent Lithuanian version, Verslo žinios. So like also the biggest news outlet for business news in Lithuania. I do follow these because they do not focus on like general political events. They focus only on those political events that have repercussions for businesses, corporate environment, for finance and macroeconomy. So yeah, they keep me focused there. Of course, I'm not only focusing on these very old school RSS feeds. You know, certain subreddits can dig up interesting information. So I do go, like over a few subreddits, focused on economy, on business, even on crypto. Widens my perspective. And then there's, I don't really listen to a lot of podcasts. My podcasts are usually technology related, not finance, not business related. So, these that focus on the developments on technology, like new smartphones, laptops, even electric cars, that sort of thing. So they don't really focus my mind on finance. But from time to time, you can find some synergies there, on something that's happening in those areas can bring in ideas about, what to do with it, with finance. Yeah. So this is probably, what creates my information bubble.
The RSS was an interesting addition. Best investment that has been the best for you in a personal life setting? It can be like, let's say, a bed, a mattress, like anything. What you think? This item is great.
I mean, I've already, said that I'm a cyclist. So
how expensive is your bike? How expensive is your bike? I think they can get very expensive, right?
Yeah, 10K. Let's say 10K.
So it's more, I think. I feel it's more, right?
Yeah, but because there's a risk that my girlfriend is going to watch this or listen to this. Let's say it's 10K.
And she will be like, Darius, I need a bourbon bag. So get me that bourbon bag. If you have a bike that is bourbon bag price, so I'll have a bag.
Yeah, but it's like, it's a hobby. So, all hobbies are expensive.
I have a hobby with the motocross. I have a motocross bike, so that's similar.
Probably even more expensive.
No, it's similar. Cool. So, what would be your advice? And this is like the final remark for anybody right now who is in the trenches, has a business, maybe 10 employees, struggling, not struggling, don't know what to do. It's a dark time. What would you say to them? But they have a dark time, everything's not going great.
Believe in the problem that you're trying to solve. Like, if you are genuinely solving someone's problem, we are all in the capitalist economies, we are making money. So not believe in some, like, you are solving a mission. And this is, excuse my French, bullshit. We are here to make money. But if you are doing that with a genuine belief that you're solving some problem, it's okay in capitalist environments to get paid for that. So if you are solving someone's problem, just believe in that. There are people with those problems, solve them. Eventually, it will pay off.
So, Darius, thank you for your time. Right now, I hope you can see my desk. Right now, we're going inside of the internet history on YouTube together with this conversation, which is going to be live very, very soon.
Okay. Nice talking to you.